All right, y'all. Before we dive in, a quick heads up.
This show is raw, real, and definitely not rated PG.
We're talking about adult themes, sexual content, and the kind of stuff you probably don't want blasting through your speakers at work or around your kids.
So grab some headphones, pour your drink of choice, and get comfy.
Oh, and just so we're clear, we are not licensed therapists, counselors, or sex coaches. Sex coaches.
Sex coaches.
Not sex couches.
We're just a couple of people sharing our lives experiences and sexy adventures and ethical non-monogamy. So with that, pull up a chair and enjoy the show.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Beyond Monogamy. I'm Adam.
And I'm Pris.
And tonight we've got somebody joining us who doesn't just talk about love and communication. She actually teaches people how to master it. We're talking about the one and only Ms. Nookie, creator of the Love Mastery Institute and the brilliant mind behind Nookie Notes. Now, if you haven't heard of them, the Love Mastery Institute is all about giving people the tools to better connections, practice real consent, and communicate in ways that make your relationships and your sex life feel more fulfilling and not more complicated.
And Nookie Notes, well, think of them like flirty little conversation cards for grown-ups, designed to help couples and relationship constellations talk about sex boundaries, aftercare, and everything in between without that awkward pressure and therapist vibe.
Absolutely. So if you've ever wanted to know how to make consent sound sexy, how to reconnect after conflict without the weird tension, or how to build emotional safety even when your relationships get complex, grab your coffee, your cocktail, or your partner and settle in, because this one's going to be full of those light bulb moments that'll change how you talk.
Yeah, we are so excited for this one. Miss Nookie has this incredible way of mixing knowledge, humor, and straight up practical tools that you can use the same night. So let's welcome Miss Nookie to the show.
Welcome, Ms. Nookie.
Welcome.
I am so excited to be here. Thank you, Adam, and thank you, Pris. I'm so excited. Beyond Monogamy, you guys are simply amazing.
Oh, we are very happy to have you.
It's going to be
here.
fun.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
So to all of our listeners out there, you know, obviously, if you didn't catch it in the long-winded intro, she teaches dating and consent and all that good stuff that I don't know how many of us need to really know about.
Yes.
And so we're gonna really get into this because I'm just curious all about you. Now, I'd like to start out. How did you get here, Ms. Nookie? How did Ms. Nookie become Ms. Nookie?
I became Miss Nookie because my parents, my mom, she's no longer with us, but my parents were married for 47 years.
Oh, wow.
My parents were married for 47 years, and my mom's side, huge family. So I have an aunt that was married within 6 months. I have an aunt that was married after 10 years of being with her husband. I have an uncle that married, then divorced, and then found like his first love again. Like his first love, they found each other again like 20 years later. So I've seen all different types of ways that people have gotten into relationships, but no one ever told me how they did it, what their thought process was, and just in general, many of us, we just aren't taught how to date. So that's why I was like, okay, I need to take this dive because, I'm divorced and, especially, and now I'm in the dating world looking for my true love, my true husband. And especially after being divorced, I was like, you know what? I know how to be married. I can be married again. I got divorced in 2014. So yeah, there's a lot of work that I needed to do. I was like, it shouldn't be hard. I've been a wife. I know. But then when you get out there in the dating apps, and it was just like, okay, nobody's real. Nobody's real about what they want. And just being in, it's like a sea of sharks when you first come out and you join the dating app. If you don't know what to do, if you don't have your boundaries, if you don't have your negotiables and non-negotiables, if you don't know all of that, it's like a feeding frenzy. And that's why so many people are like, oh, dating is a shit show and it sucks and da-da-da-da, because they're just not approaching it. They're doing the same thing over and over again. The definition of insanity. So I'm here to make us less insane.
That sounds like fun.
Yeah, well, I remember when we opened up our relationship to dating, and it was miserable. It was not fun. And it was because we were older, obviously. We didn't grow up during the app generation, and all of a sudden, this was the way to do it. And you had to swipe left or right. And everything is all gunned up to their profile picture and whatever witticisms that they wrote in their profile. And it all came down to that, and whatever kind of conversation you can have low key on an app messenger.
He's
Exactly.
I was married. This is my third marriage. Girl, third marriage right here.
That's right. She found Mr.
Third
Nookie
time's a
third time.
charm.
That's right.
You hit the jackpot with this one.
I did. I don't and I never dated. I was 13 when I got with my first husband, got married at 18, got divorced at like 24, went into another relationship within like weeks, stayed with that one, rebound, had kids and stayed with him for 7 years, and then divorced and went straight to Adam. So like I don't even know that dating ritual. And when we became poly and we were starting to date, I was like, this is crazy. No, is this how you meet people on an app?
Yeah.
And you're right, people were very fake and they weren't being honest with what they wanted. And to get that out of them was a very hard thing.
Yeah.
I'm glad you're here to teach us.
Yeah, like for dating apps, what I typically say is you really have to look at the profiles. Look at the pictures. Are the pictures varying? Do you see casual? Do you see business? If it's all casual, I'm not gonna swipe. If all you have are 5 pictures and you got on a t-shirt, no, I need versatility. That's the first thing. And then even just the simple questions, when a guy says, ask me anything you want to know, that's an automatic swipe left because you don't even have time to invest in your profile. So, these little simple things kind of it helps you to weed out a lot just by those simple things. Because I tell people, if you're doing your profile, you need to have pictures of, the different aspects of you. Fill out the profile, answer those questions, truly give a little bit of yourself so that when you do your profile, you know a little bit more of what to look for. Now, this isn't foolproof because things will slip through, but at least you get rid of that first layer of scum. A better word. You filter the first layer of scum, and then you can, dive a little deeper. And also, like when dating, you have to change your mindset. On average, sometimes it could take people 80 dates before they find their person. So it sounds like a big number, but if you think of it that way, you're not in a mindset of, is this the one? Is this the one? Is this the one? Because I'm a hopeless romantic, and I was like that. Everyone is the one. Everyone is my husband until he proves that he's not. I'm a hopeless romantic.
Yeah.
I believe in love all the time. I see you, you like me, okay, I'm planning the wedding in my head. But you got to slow down.
I am the total opposite.
You got to slow down and take some time.
Yeah, no,
That is so
that's
funny.
how it was with Adam when we're
I am big. I wear my heart on my sleeve, and I'm very big on when we were poly. That's when I realized that new relationship energy is a thing, and I would get all excited to be with this one person, and before you know it, and that was the difficulty too, was all of your time and energy goes into this new relationship, and when it comes to non-monogamy, you have other relationships that you have. There's other plants that you got to work.
You got to split. Yeah, you got to split your time.
Yeah,
Time management.
That was a tough part for me because I am also a dad and I was raising kids as well as I married my best friend, and so with all of that, it was just difficult to give myself whatever I had left to somebody else. It was just difficult.
For the way that you normally give, you kind of had to say, okay, well, it's like you kind of felt self-defeated because you didn't feel like you were being your truest self and giving your all that you would normally do.
Everything that I wanted to give. Now, Pris, it was a different story because Pris was not a fan of polyamory.
No.
She was not a fan of dating others so much. She is bisexual, and so she wanted to experience other women in a relationship setting and that sort of thing. And she was not as successful. Her experiences were not as successful as mine were, just for the sheer fact that women connecting with other women, I guess.
I'm very transparent and I stand by my beliefs. And a lot of people just don't get that. Like they were very standoffish and so I was like, okay, well, if this is not going to work, if you're not going to be compatible to me, then it's fine. We did date a woman together recently, and it was really cool because she was pretty similar to me in attitude and feistiness and stuff like that. But it was a little different because she wasn't really, I don't know, understanding of like, not understanding, but he's very sensitive and stuff like that. So it was a weird balance. I don't know if I'll do it again. Can't say no, but I don't know. It was really hard. It was hard.
One thing I can say, like when you're, because I'm straightforward and I'm assertive, and sometimes people can find that intimidating.
Yes, I
She
get
gets
that
cold
all
So-
the time.
So what I try to do, I try to just tap more into my feminine energy and just kind of slow down and just be softer,
Yeah, I do.
you
that.
know? And yeah, like just slow down. When you think slow, like when you're walking, think slow. When you're talking to someone, slow down your pace, and that'll make you a little more inviting. And I mean, you can still say what you want to say, and if you say it slower, trust me, the delivery that's the key. It's the delivery.
There you
So
go.
just try slowing down a little bit and just talking like, yeah, this is what I like and this is what I don't like, and tell me what you like, and talk like that. Just try and talk a little bit slower, and I bet you people will be a lot more receptive.
Oh, she's a fast talker. You called that one.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for that.
And I mean, it makes sense because it's with oomph. It's with emotion. It's with
Yeah.
that you're slowing everything down and going, look, this is me.
And it's intentional. It's like really intentional. It's a little more intentional. And people listen when you talk slower. People listen to every word that you say.
Yeah. Well,
The slower you talk, it becomes a little entrancing. Like, here I am, and this is what I want. And people give you what you want the slower you talk, especially as a woman.
Ms. Nookie, you're putting it like that. I'm hanging on every word over here.
no.
Now, I'd like to delve into consent and things that you talked about. A lot of people in the lifestyle kind of struggle with how to say things in the moment, especially when multiple people are involved. And I'm curious as far as what you think. How can we make consent sound sexy and natural without like killing the vibe? Because I've been afraid of that myself. It's one of those things where for our specific lifestyle, consent is everything and consent is very sexy. But if everything's in the moment, things are happening, how can you ask for consent without turning everybody
Without
off?
turning it off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where, okay, so if you're at a swingers party, everybody kind of knows what it's about.
Yeah.
Everybody knows what it's about, but you still need consent to still swing when you're at the party.
Right.
So, you have that initial contact, and, you have a vibe, and, so are you feeling what I'm feeling? Just easing it into the conversation. Here's what I like. What do you like? When you start talking about likes and dislikes, and you can kind of get a feel for whether or not someone will consent with you. So it's all in how you propose the conversation and the type of and where the conversation goes, that you'll feel like a little nudge in your belly when you're like, okay, I think this one is good to go. So let's, up the ante and have the consent talk. Because to me, it's just all about the way a conversation, because when someone isn't feeling you when you're talking to them.
Yeah.
And to just pull back and be like, oh, nice meeting you. Oh, someone's calling me. Let me go real quick. You know how to exit fast. But when you're enjoying a conversation with someone, and you give the looks and the slight touch. I'm a very touchy-feely person. So if I'm talking to you, I may touch your elbow or touch your shoulder, see how receptive they are to that, and just kind of go with the flow and be like, so, are you okay with us doing XYZ? And, it's easing it into the conversation once the conversation feels comfortable,
Yeah.
Sure.
I
if that makes sense.
There's two questions that swingers are most uncomfortable asking. One of them is consent. The other one is the condom question. And for some reason, those two questions, people get very nervous
And
about.
it's so odd to me that those are two of the hardest questions
Yeah.
because you know what you're doing. You're an adult consenting.
Yes.
You're going in this knowing what you want to do, and it's like, okay, so yeah, I'm a condom person. So if you're not, then this isn't going to work. It's standing by what your negotiables and non-negotiables are.
Yeah.
Yes.
And saying it in a
Introducing it
very,
and standing by it.
yeah, and saying it in a very natural way where it's like
Yeah.
you're not judging and you're not being rude about it. So I'm very upfront. Like I said, I'm like, okay, so we wear condoms, and are y'all good with that? It's all.
Yeah, it's like, me and my partner, we agreed that this is how we do this. And just standing in that, this is how we do this. And then, oh, well, we don't wear condoms. Oh, well, you know what? It was so nice talking to you, and oh, we got to go do something. You just get the hell out of Dodge because it's not worth entertaining something that you're not going to do because no one's going to be able to coax you into doing something that you're not going to do either. So it's one of those type of things.
That's right.
Very
I mean, so essentially, in so many words, we just got to act like adults.
Period.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
we're doing adult things, very adult things. So
We just got to be adults about it.
you got to own it.
Yeah.
If you own it, embrace it, live it, breathe it, embody who you are, and be unapologetic. I think that's part of the problem. We don't live unapologetically enough.
Agree.
Yeah.
Agree.
Like I don't apologize a lot because whatever I did it and I meant it and I'll be accountable for it. And it is what it is, So
Yes.
it's just be who you are. I'm about to be 50 sexy next year. So I have no more F's to give. So I'm just me. You are going to get me 100%. And either if you like it, I love it. If you don't, I wish you the best. Namaste.
Perfect person.
Oh, I'm telling you, man.
Oh my goodness. Yes. I totally 1000% agree with you. And I wish that more women, I'm going to say women, had that much confidence and had the ability to speak up and say things like that because I'm with you. I do not apologize very often. I'm the gives a fucks are gone. So you have to be.
You know what? My mind is going right now, and I'm my mind is screaming masterclass for people who are interested in lifestyle. Couples masterclass. One for females, one for males to address these issues. If you guys were to coordinate something like that, I'm here with you.
Yes.
Well,
I
you know,
will-
and
I will-
it's something that we've talked about.
Yeah.
I would
Yeah.
say that the dating world is difficult for anybody, whether you're non-monogamous or monogamous. But I feel like the dating world is a bit tougher as non-monogamous, obviously, because you're holding on to more than one relationship.
Yeah.
And so I'm curious, in your experiences, have you worked with people in non-monogamous relationships the same, or?
I have, and it is a push-pull, and it's not meant for everybody.
Yeah.
And people need to understand that it's okay if it's for you, and it's okay if you try it and you don't like it. It's okay. Like people like, well, it seems like that's the in thing now, and I just don't want it. Okay, we don't do peer pressure. We're adults.
Yeah.
Peer pressure doesn't exist for us. Let's get rid of that stigma. And it's just making sure that the communication is there with all parties, and all parties are in agreement. I tell people the number one thing about relationships is if you can effectively communicate. Effectively communicate. And if you feel like, you're in this E&M and, your person isn't giving you enough time, be able to communicate that with them. And if they say, well, that's all the time that I can give you, be willing to walk away. I think too many times people are afraid for fear of being alone to walk away from situations, and then they'll sit there unhappy. Well, I tried it, and he just didn't pay me any attention. He paid the. Oh, then why did you stay? It's one of those type of things where be in your power. Because what I do at Love Mastery Institute, I teach you how to prepare yourself for love, prepare yourself for any dynamic. Because once you have that self-love, you're not going to do all of the push and pull. You're not going to sit and beg. You're good. Like I said, you're going to lay out your boundaries. You're going to lay out your negotiables and non-negotiables, and it is what it is. And when you are powerful enough to know that you can walk away from anything, to me, that makes you sexier than ever. And that makes people chase you even more when they know that they can't play in your face. In essence.
Oh my
Well
gosh,
put.
that was everything right there.
Okay.
Actually, because I mean that is sexy to me. If there's a level of desperation that I'm seeing in somebody, and they don't love themselves enough to
Which
put
you
their
Mhm.
boundaries.
Which
Yeah.
you mean, yeah.
I've seen it several times before. I lose interest immediately.
Yeah.
I am a big fan of strong women,
Yeah.
strong-minded women, very opinionated women. I love my strong women 100%. And when I come in contact with somebody who is not on that level, they don't love themselves that much, they don't, treat themselves better, I lose interest because if you don't love yourself, why would I?
Yeah.
Exactly. I tell people, no one can love you more than you love yourself.
Yeah.
Period.
That's-
You have to be happy with yourself. I go on solo dates all the time. I'll take myself to the movies, out to eat all the time. And I don't know. I enjoy me.
Yeah.
I enjoy me. And I mean, it also gives me more time to flirt. If there's a cute bartender or someone cute beside, it does lend to me an opportunity to flirt when someone sees you out and about by yourself. So I just look at every opportunity I can to, meet people. So I have no problem saying hi to people. I have no problem complimenting people. Oh, that's a nice shirt. Oh, that shirt looks good with your eyes. Just talk to people. And if you practice that in your daily life, just in general, you'll start to just build up a certain confidence where you're like, hey, I can talk to anybody. It's just
Yes.
little steps. I believe big life changes come from small mindset changes.
Oh.
Yes.
We're
That's
gonna
it.
put that on a shirt.
So,
Yeah.
right?
That's a good one.
Yeah, that's all it takes. Small mindset changes. And what I love about complimenting strangers, you never know if you've made their day.
Yes.
Because some people they'll be like, they'll just have a straight face and say, hey, that's a really nice color. Thank you. Like you can make someone's day just by doing that. Think about when someone compliments you. So even just start with that, complimenting people. If you see something nice, compliment and just keep it moving.
Oh,
You don't have to sit and conversate.
compliment everybody.
He
Yeah,
compliments.
exactly.
Because you just never know. Like
Yes.
somebody could be having a really bad day.
Yes.
You just changed the whole trajectory of their day with one
Yep.
simple thing, and it took nothing. It was free. You know what I mean?
And you can see, it's almost like you see the click in their face when you give them the compliment. So that just makes you feel good. And that can work on your self-esteem because, hey, I had the power to say something simple and make someone happy. So I should have the power to look myself in the mirror and do my affirmations and say, I am beautiful, I am enough, I am worthy, and know that that's going to give me the same effect that I give random strangers by complimenting something they're wearing. It's just simple
That
mindset
easy.
change.
And it comes back to you.
Yep.
Back to you. Now, Ms.
Definitely does.
I was one of the things that I was looking forward to talking to you about is Nookie Notes.
Yes.
Okay. Now, I kind of briefly went into it in the intro, but could you break it down for us? What is Nookie Notes?
Okay, so I have two versions of Nookie Notes. I have a version for people who are dating and a version for couples. So in my sessions with couples, you all know people who have been together forever and they say, oh, we fell out of touch, life took over. So the whole idea behind the couples deck is just to have activities, whether it's a talking activity or an actual activity that will increase intimacy. Especially if you've been married for 10 years or more, you kind of run out of ideas. And that's really all you need. Something to just provoke a new idea, a newness, a new way to look at each other, a new way to talk to each other, a new way to reconnect with each other. So that's why, it's a simple, you don't have to go to counseling. You can just take some Nookie notes and say, okay, once a month, we're going to pull a card, randomly pull a card. Or, pull 3 cards and say, okay, we're going to do one of these 3 activities. And there you go. You start bonding right there because you're sitting down, you're looking at the 3 activities, and you're deciding together what to do. When you may not have spoken for weeks or something, but if you put it on your calendar, this is going to be a date night. We're going to draw some Nookie notes and do whatever it says or make a plan. You're already starting to bond because bonding comes by doing activities together, creating memories. That's what bonds people, especially men. Men get bonded to women by the memories. It's that vasopressin is expressed when you do actual activities with someone. So that's what that's about, just reconnecting. And my date cards are just to help people have fruitful conversations on dates. So that you're not asking, how many siblings do you have? What's your favorite color? No, that's not going to help you know whether or not you and that person are in alignment in terms of what you're looking for the future. So that, the dating side, that's just questions, a small card deck that you can pop out on a date and be like, hey, you want to ask some questions? You pick a card, I pick a card, and we have something to talk about. So that's what's behind it. Just something to make dating a little bit easier.
Yeah.
Because it's so hard and so difficult, and so many people don't know what to do. Especially, like I said, me after being divorced, I had no clue what I was doing. Like I would have loved to have had Nookie Notes. Because that would have helped me to, navigate things a little bit better and vet better. We don't vet properly. That's the key. We don't vet properly, and we become physical too soon most of the times. I know there are people who fall in love at first sight, first date, they get physical and they're in love. The problem is that's maybe only 5% of the population that works for, and everybody thinks that they're part of that 5% when they're not. Not everyone can handle that.
We have a lot of friends who will go through divorces and they start dating again. And they'll date one person and they're like, this is the person that I'm seeing. I'm seeing this person. I'm seeing this person. It's like, why aren't you dating multiple people?
You need to date multiple people because you don't want to put all your eggs in one basket. I'm all about time management and conserving energy. When you have all your eggs in one basket and you spent 6 months diving deep with this person just to realize that they're not free, that's 6 months wasted. Where if you're dating, and when I say dating, it's talking, you're dating, collecting data, collecting information, not being physical, because physical, I say, will turn you into a fool because they'll knock something out your head and you're like, your true senses go away because it's so good and so sweet that you can't, you're like, this is it. No, their character sucks. They just got good private parts.
I never heard about multi-dating or dating a lot of people at one time until I got older. And I'm going to say even recently, I had a coworker who was in her 30s, early 30s, and she moved from California, and she was like, I forgot what she called it, but she was just dating multiple people. And for me, that was really cool. For my other coworker who's older was like, ooh, no, that's really weird. And I remember thinking, that's really freaking smart of her. And she was looking for something specific. She was dating all these multiple men and she wasn't sleeping with them, but she was dating them on. She was going out on dates and she was like, nope, not that one. Nope, not that one. She finally found one. Yeah. And she's like,
exactly. It's like the law. It's like the law of averages when you're doing that. And then even if you let everyone know that you're dating multiple people, for women, the men who don't want to put in the work, they're going to leave immediately.
Right.
Because they're going to be like, oh, well, if you're dating multiple people, you have to be sleeping with one. Listen, if you don't want to believe me now, while we're dating and I'm trying to tell you how I date, then we're not meant to be and you can just move on your way.
Red
Because a man that's really into you, he's going to fight for you and show you that he's the one for you. That's, to me, that's the purpose of dating multiple people, is letting them know, okay, which one of you are really going to step up to the plate, rather than dating one man who's like, all right, I got that. That's mine already, who didn't really have to work for it.
Yes.
So that's why it's on both sides. You got to come as your truest self and know that, hey, they got someone else, and, you know, you got to feel them out. Are they really feeling me? Are they not? You know, and that's the give or take. And that's why dating can become exhausting, because right now I'm on a pause. I've deleted all the apps. I'm waiting until January to restart. You know, I'm pouring back into me, taking a refresher, because I was ready to start cursing everybody out because they were just coming at me left and right. And you know, I try to be good and kind because I don't want to tear nobody down. So when I feel that bubbling inside of me, I take breaks. So I tell people, take dating breaks. You need time to breathe, because it can become overwhelming and you get frustrated because of all of the BS that's going on and the BS that you're hearing. You're just like, oh, I can't stand this. And then if you don't take a break, you may meet someone who could be the one, but you're not in that headspace because you automatically think that they're going to be like the rest. So it's always good to take a break, take a month or two off, and honestly, it resets the algorithm of the dating apps.
There you
Oh,
go.
that makes sense, because the dating apps, it's like the same thing over and
Yeah.
over again.
Exactly. But if you take a month off and go back, it's like, whoo, did new people move into the area all of a sudden? You know, so it's good, even just to fool the algorithm so that you can get more choices rather than just the same lame choices over and over again. And use multiple dating apps. Use multiple dating apps, because you never know which ones people are on.
And then, of course, our situation is slightly different because we're talking about dating, but we're talking about dating in a non-monogamous way. And so, you know, there's a lot of people, out of our experiences, a lot of people need your advice.
Yes. Yes.
Well, yeah, because it's a thing now on dating apps where you can put that you're ethically non-monogamous.
Yeah.
You know, so it is something that's growing, that people are more aware of. And I just feel like a lot of people, the stigma that's attached to it causes them fear of trying that, and just, you know, because they're like, oh, I just want one person. I am a proponent of saying monogamy is not natural to begin with, because if we were we would be like the platypus, one and done, and that's it. We wouldn't be just attracted to anybody else if monogamy was a natural thing. And to me, anything you have to work at is not natural, and you have to work at monogamy. So it's like just trying to have people understand that, you know, life flows, it ebbs and flows, and you have to look at life kind of like an amoeba. It's going to be ever changing, ever evolving. Even your story, you know, you started off as swingers, then you were polyamorous, and then you decided to be ethically non-monogamous. You know, you kind of just went with the flow of how you felt in the moment. And I feel if more people lived like that, they would be happy and stop worrying about society and what everybody else says.
I know. Ms. Nookie, you are the voice inside my head. Let me tell you.
So,
And just understand, like for me, the process is, if you meet someone and you're in the same area within an hour of each other, if a man does not ask me out on a date within a week to 2 weeks tops, I'm done. Because I need you to be proactive. I'm here to be proactive. You need to be proactive too. Like, people need to have that mindset, that whole thing of, I'm not afraid to walk away.
Yeah.
You have to not be afraid to walk away, or people will they will love bomb you, and they will just string you along. They will breadcrumb you. I remember one guy, like, we had initially matched in March, and it was like July. And he was like, hey, thank you for the compliment. I was like, dude, March to July? I wish you the best in your search for love. Thank you. Now, if I was dating from a space of desperation, I would have been like, oh, hey, how are you? No, you got to know your worth. Don't let, because that means he done played with a whole bunch of females.
Yep.
And now he wants to try and see your worth and your value. He needs to try and see that up front.
Yes.
We're not, you're not coming, you're not leaving us.
Nookie, what if he just hit pause for a little while?
Then say that. No, I mean, you can say that, like I have no problem. Like, be honest. Hey, I was frustrated. So I had to hit pause and I came back and, I went back to, our discussions that we had. And, I would like to, reconvene. There's a way.
Sure.
There's a way to do that. Just like there's a way to spin the block. It's all in your approach. You can't just, hey, what's up? How you doing? Let's start this again. No, let me know what caused the break. And if your story is good enough, I may say, okay, but your story has to be good enough. It has to be. If you're going to lie, you have to believe your lie.
Agreed.
Your
Yes.
story has to be, but your story has to make sense. Your story cannot make me have 10 questions. At least if I have like 5 questions about your story, then no, something about it is suspicious to me. Exactly. Because like I said, we're adults, we're mature, we know life happens.
Mhm.
So I'm willing to listen. I tell every guy, I will say yes to everything that you say, everything that you promise. I will say yes. Because I'm a woman, I wait for action. I talk, like they say, talk is cheap. I will let you talk. You can promise me the moon, and until I see you bring me the moon, you're not saying anything.
Yeah. Now, do
And
you
that's what people need to understand. Actions.
have you always been like that, or is it in your older ages that you've finally realized?
In my older age,
Yes.
like I said, I wasn't taught how to date. So I was believing everything,
Yeah.
boyfriends that cheated on me and stuff. And, I was like, oh, was it me? What did I do wrong? And, all of this self-loathing, thinking that I'm the problem. And I'm like, you know what? I was doing everything that I was doing everything that I was supposed to do. And when I came to the realization that at the end of the day, everyone chooses themselves.
Mhm.
Oh yeah.
If you really think about it, at the end of the day, so I'm like, so I need to be selfish and choose me
Yes.
more than not.
Yeah.
And when I started choosing me, it's that confidence. It's that confidence because I've done things that you're not supposed to do. I've dealt with married men. I don't do that anymore, but I've done that. And I was like, well, I was cheated on without cheating on nobody because people are like, karma. Is karma really like, no one cared about the karma when they were doing it to me. And I mean, it's not good to be like, okay, well, I'm just going to do it back. But I was living for me. I was being my selfish self. Now, I don't do that anymore because I'm trying to be a better person. But it's like we all go through stages
Yeah.
and no one is going to be perfect, and yes, you're going to have missteps, but be able to forgive yourself of those missteps and know that you can become a better person no matter what your past is. That's all of the self-love part to get that confidence to be like, okay, I hear you. No, that doesn't, something about that doesn't sound right.
Yeah.
Or to say, I hear you. And, sometimes when you talk to people, you can feel their emotion. So you know when they're being genuine. And that comes with being in tune with yourself as well. When you can trust your gut, truly trust your gut to listen. And I like to say, hear what they don't say.
Ooh, I
Because
love
that's a big one too. Like you can meet someone and they were like, yeah, I'm divorced and it was a good divorce, but then they constantly talk about their ex-wife and they're like, I'm over her though. No, you're not.
that.
Listen to what they're not saying. If you're truly tapped in, you can hear what people are not saying. And that's where the truth lies.
Do you find it hard because you deal with couples and I'm assuming singles and,
Yes.
okay, so do you find it hard for men to be self-loving or understand? I know us for women, right? We can talk for ourselves and I'm 47, so we're both kind of in the same age era,
Yeah.
and we've already learned, we've already been there, done that. Do you find it harder for men because I know that they mature a little later? Do you
It
find it
is.
harder for them?
It is harder because of toxic masculinity.
Mm.
That's what it is. The whole raising your sons to don't cry, and or you're the man of the house, and all of that, and you don't hug them. You're not supposed to hug your as a father. You're not supposed to hug your son or kiss him on the cheek and all of that. No. Like, we need to stop that. And many moons ago, I did a show about that. And the reason why I did a show about that, there was a bar that I used to hang out at when I lived in Baltimore, and there was a bartender. He was homosexual, and we were, I told him, I have a podcast about sex and relationships, and he was like, you need to talk about toxic masculinity. He said, because I like to be hugged by my daddy. He was like, I like to hug my daddy, and I'll kiss my daddy on the cheek, and people need to understand that. And that's when I first learned about that. And, that's me hearing it from a man. So now when you have men who their whole entire childhood have told to be tough, and who may not have gotten a lot of hugs and love, it's hard for them to see a woman and be vulnerable. And then for me as a like, I tell men all the time, like, I am so in your corner, because a lot of women sometimes are just on some BS. You know what I'm saying? And they like to use men. I'm like, because there are so many good men out there that women just don't appreciate. And a lot of men just don't have outlets. Like, there are men that I've met while dating, and maybe it may not work out with me and them. And I'll say, can you please do a master class for men? Can you start like having a discussion? And they're like, oh, I can do a podcast. No, do something small and intimate where, men and young men and men can come and just talk about issues. Talk about the way they're feeling, talk about the way their woman made them feel, what I'm saying? Because sometimes women, our tongues are like cutlasses.
Yes.
You
I'm
know?
raising 3 boys. Girl, I'm raising 3 boys.
I have a son.
They are very they know their mama is very strong, and I don't undermine my husband. We're very even, I mean, he's the man of the house, I'm the woman of the
Yeah.
house. But yeah, that really hit.
Toxic masculinity is a big
It-
topic in and of itself,
it
especially
is.
in this realm that we're in.
Yeah.
I've had my sexuality questioned just because I am the way I am.
Yeah.
I run vulnerable. I have no problems opening up and I'm very honest.
Yeah.
And so if there's something I need to say to somebody, I'm gonna say it. And if I think somebody's, doing an awesome job, I'm gonna tell them, hey, you're doing an amazing job.
Yeah.
I'm gonna come out and I'm gonna say things that most people have forgotten it's okay to say.
And that's
Yeah.
and that's the and that's the problem. Like if someone is questioning your sexuality because of what you're doing, more than likely they're afraid to be as open and free as you. And that's what it is. And it could take just a simple conversation to be like, hey, you want to talk about this? But it's just getting men to feel safe. It's creating a safe space for a man to be open about his feelings. And there's not enough of that in society right now. Safe spaces for men to be vulnerable, because you guys have emotions just like us. And like I said, women, our tongues are cutlasses. I know I can tear a man down, but I never will, because I don't want to add to what society is already doing to you. Because you deserve a safe space. And I just think there need to be more men's groups, and especially start these groups. You have your boys. Like my son, he is going to be an amazing husband someday. I mean, he'll come and check on me. Mom, are you okay? If he's out and about, like when he was in school, if he stayed after school and got like candies or something, he was like, Mom, I know you like M&Ms, so I brought you M&Ms. Like simple stuff like that. He'll hold the door. If he's not feeling good, I'll ask him, what's wrong? Talk to me. And he knows how to stand up for himself. And he knows how to be soft with women, and he knows how to be soft with children, and it's just creating that to let him know he knows that he's strong, and he knows when to puff up his chest, and he knows when to be soft. And I don't think it's something that's hard to teach. It's just not being taught.
Yeah.
I raised my kids to be affectionate because I wasn't affectionate with my
Yeah.
father.
Exactly.
He didn't tell me that he loved me and stuff like that, and I wanted to make sure and raise my kids to know it's okay.
See?
And so it's a different household for us.
It is.
But I will say that toxic masculinity plays a large part in the
lifestyle.
lifestyle. We
Oh,
see it
my goodness.
often. Yeah, we see it a lot.
It is a really, especially if there's a bisexual man, he feels like he can't be himself. He can't come out. He can't talk
Yeah,
about it.
and then also on another torrent of it, we have single males who refer to themselves as bulls, who will come in and their whole, I guess their whole job is to have sex with a hot wife in front of the husband, that sort of thing. And this is what they do. And a lot of these cats are very disrespectful at times to husbands. I've seen them a lot of times walk in like they're cock of the walk, and they puff in their chests.
Ego,
And
the ego
yeah,
driven.
and I don't know how many times she's been said, "Hey, I'm gonna take care of you so good, you're not gonna want to go back to your husband," and just like all sorts
And then
of stuff
that's
like
where
that.
I can cut the man very quickly. So that's where I bring that out. I'm like, no, no,
It-
no, no. So there are times when I have to do that, but it is that machismo-ness, especially with Latinos, those men, they're like, we're real machismo, we're the men, and you
It's like they feel as if they have something to prove.
yes,
Yeah.
And,
yes.
and that's the problem. Like these spaces, the lifestyle spaces, they're not structured. Like I used to have a BDSM family that I used to have fun with and stuff like that. It's not structured. It's not normal society. It's different. You're the whole machismo in there. It's all ego.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all ego, and you've probably broken down so many egos by being no, because sometimes you got to check a man's ego, especially in that environment. They need to be checked. Like, hey, we don't do that BS over here. And let them know that it's okay to be soft, but it just makes me wonder what is going on other aspects of their life that they feel the need to be that big dog in such a curated space that's for a different type of mentality. Because it's like I said, the lifestyle, any form of lifestyle, it's not for everybody.
Right.
And like I feel some people just use it for ego. Like in BDSM, when you have like the sadist, are you a true sadist that's going to give the aftercare and make sure that they're good? Are you the sadist that just wants to beat on someone?
Yeah.
Wow, I never thought
It's
about that. Yeah.
it's a it's a big thing, and it's a true dynamic. Why are you doing this? Do you want them to feel that sweet pain, or do you just want to inflict pain? There's a difference
Yeah.
that I see,
Intention.
especially in that connection between like a sub and a dom. I say it's like watching a sub and a dom truly play. There's a dark beauty to it. There's a dark beauty in watching a true dynamic like that. And not every sadist has the capacity for that dark beauty. They only have the capacity for the darkness.
Yes. Now, I'm curious about something going to Miss Nookie and dating. Would you say that chivalry is still alive?
Yes.
And with
Yes,
that,
yes,
it's
yes.
kind of a two-parter actually, because obviously you're a very strong and independent woman, and I've run into strong independent women who don't care for chivalrous actions like opening the door. I was raised to do all that stuff, but I've been told not
They're
to.
too much in their masculine energy.
Okay. Okay.
That's why I said you have to because I'm, being a single mom, I've been that person where like guys have been like, don't you touch that door. And I'm like, I'm sorry. But it's like in the way that I vet, I can say like I have been meeting amazing men who won't let me touch a door. I can't touch a car door. I can't touch a regular door. And they just make me feel so soft. And it's once I slowed down and just said, okay, just let him do what he wants. Let him do what he needs to do. I'm just going to sit here, and feminine energy, it's the energy of receiving. And that's what more women need to realize. Yes, you can have your own business, and in that world, be that boss. You need that structure. You need that masculine energy. But at home and in a relationship, slow it down, be soft, let him treat you, let him pamper you, let him love on you, accept what he's trying to give you.
Oh,
Accept
girl,
it.
I am very.
I've been trying to give it to
I
you for a
am.
while.
I've never been a single parent, but I am a very, and my dad raised a tomboy. I'm a very independent woman.
Yeah.
I am the woman that says, you're with me and you're beside me, or I could do this by myself.
And I sometimes you'll do it by yourself.
I don't need anybody. And so I have to remember that it's a very,
I-
very,
Yeah,
it is,
I'm
it's
too
hard.
like
It's so hard.
I listen. I started getting my nails done just so I could be more feminine
Yeah.
because I don't open I don't open cans anymore. Something that simple.
Yeah.
I do not open cans anymore. If it's a can of something, either my son or whatever man is, can you open this for me, please? That made it made me more feminine rather than just, so I had to do things to put me in that feminine energy.
And it
So
doesn't
that
take away
and
from,
it's
it doesn't take
I'm
away
sorry?
it doesn't take away from your independence. It doesn't take away
It doesn't. It
uh,
doesn't. And also men have a hero complex.
Mm.
They want to know that they're needed.
yeah, totally.
Like next time you're out, ask a stranger to open a can and see how excited he gets that you ask him to open a can of soda. It's amazing. I do it on purpose all the time, just to see.
Let me tell you what you just said, and my little brain said, "I don't care." You said men need to have a
See, that's the mindset change.
you said men have to be heroes, and I'm like, I don't need them to be a hero for me.
But, and
But
and
no, you are right because
and that's what it is. But you start by giving them little things to do.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I will YouTube anything. I had an old car. I YouTube how to change the brake light. I YouTube everything rather than ask somebody. I remember one time I was at a gas station putting air in my tire. And a man came over and said, "Can I help you?" I said, "Nah, I'm good. I don't need your help." And when I got in the car, I was like, why didn't you just let him help you?
I know.
It was a nice, and I mean, I literally, no, I'm good, just mean and nasty for no reason. And I was like, you can't keep doing this, accept help. Feminine energy is the energy of receiving. So it's just being more mindful about asking for the little things. And then eventually you'll be able to ask for help with the big. Remember, small mindset changes.
Fine.
I believe in you, Pris. You can do it. I believe in you.
Baby steps.
Little baby steps.
You know, I always said we started this podcast, and as we've taken on guests, she's like, that was a really good guest. I learned a lot from them. And I'm like, oh, this is our own form of therapy sometimes,
Well, because I stay in my own head. I make my own little ground. Like, this is me and this is how you're going to take me. And I have to remember that it's not that way. Like, we all.
And it's two people.
It's
You
two
have
people. We
to
have
accept
to
someone else
talk.
into your life.
No, we've had this conversation before.
Oh, God. Don't break a nail putting gas in my car.
We've
I'll
had this
your-
conversation
Your
before.
cans, baby. Don't.
Hey, I made rice for dinner
Yes,
tonight.
he did. He cooked.
I cooked part of the
Cooked
dinner.
half the
See?
dinner.
I cooked half the dinner. I did some stuff.
See, there you go, helping each other.
Now, Miss Nookie, I've got one last question before we wrap up here. Something I'm kind of curious about. As far as the lifestyle is concerned, if someone in the lifestyle says we're great at the fun part, but not great at talking about the hard stuff, what's the first baby step you'd recommend that they take?
The first thing I would say, well, write down what you can't say and give it to your partner. Write it down. Both of you write down the things that you can't say and exchange those papers and sit with those papers for, let's say, a day or two, and then see what you want to talk about together, and know that what you're writing is how you're feeling, and both of you are going to listen. You're going to hold space for when that person is talking. You're going to listen to understand and not listen to respond, because that's the way to effectively communicate. Listen to understand. You cannot you cannot invalidate what your partner feels. Because that's the key. Well, I feel like you're not doing this. You can't feel that way. I did da, 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 da. That's the worst thing to say. You have to hold space for them. Let them know that you hear them and you want to work through it. And if you truly love each other, you will hold that space. Now, if I tell you to do this and you can't do it, then maybe you guys aren't suited to be together because you don't care enough about each other to actually listen. Because that's what that is. It's being brave enough to know that you're being heard. And everyone wants to be heard. You're being heard and you're being understood. And, that's the vulnerability part of relationships. That's very scary for both people. Very scary. I'm a super strong person. So it takes a lot for me to ask for help, even. And because, if I ask you for help and you tell me no, I'm like, well, shit, I could have done it himself. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I got to get out of my head. But when you get me to a space where I feel like I can depend on you, and I can ask for help, or I can say, I really didn't like when you did this, and know that it's not going to cause an argument. And then I'm the same way. I can't invalidate your truth. That's what it is. We got to stop trying to invalidate someone else's truth, someone else's feelings. We need to understand them and say, okay, I hear that you feel this way. What can I do to make you feel better? What can I do? I will try my best to not do this again, because we're not perfect. We may mess up, we may forget and do that thing again. But if I do it again, tell me in the moment that I did it, and I will apologize and I will try not to. Now, that story shouldn't work forever. You can't keep messing up 10 times, maybe once or twice. After the third time, that's a pattern. And that person could be taking advantage of you, thinking that, oh, all I got to do is say sorry and they're just going to forgive me and I'm going to come back. We're not doing that. You know what I'm saying? But it's knowing, being genuine with people and just being open to hearing things that you don't want to hear about yourself. I really don't like when you do this, and that may be something that you love to do.
Yeah.
And understand, okay, I know that I love to do it, but you don't like to do it, so I won't do it. Or, can I do it maybe once in a while? Because, I really like it. It's really it's a negotiation. Yeah. It's a negotiation. Be ready to any relationship requires negotiation, reciprocity, negotiation. And I think that's part of the problem with dating. People, because I tell people about a list. I say, your list should be in 3 forms. I tell people to get a notebook. The first one, the characteristics of the person that you want, the type of relationship that you want with this person, and the most important one, how are you going to show up for the relationship? Because a lot of people, I want. Well, what are you going to do? And then it's crickets. They don't know just what they're going to do because they only think about what they want. So it's knowing that it's a whole other person. And you're both different. And you have to be willing to give up some things, and you have to be willing to give some things. And that's the key to a successful anything, is knowing that it's a negotiation and it's not all one way, and that things will change. What you agreed to 2 years ago, you may talk about it and it's going to change in 5 years because we grow. Our weight fluctuates. So why do we think that our relationship wouldn't fluctuate? Why wouldn't we think that things would change? It's impossible to think that person or you are going to be the same forever. It's just impossible.
Yeah.
Just be real.
I love
His
that.
Nookie dropping bombs on us. Over here. Love it. That's right. Knowledge bombs over here. I love it, man. Miss Nookie, okay, before I get into this outro, I'm just going to say Nookie Notes for non-monogamous people.
You have to do that.
You got to do that. You got to do that. And if you need any help, let me know. I can.
And for sure, we need to get together because we can have this conversation all night long.
And if we can always talk about a master class. And
Yes.
Yeah, and if you ever want me to come back, and I'm here for you guys, because I love what you guys are doing. I love what you guys are doing. I think what you guys are doing is truly a service that's needed, because to your breaking away the stigma of the lifestyle, especially when people are married. You know, I like to tell my couples, you know, you craft your relationship.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what society says. It's whatever you two agree upon, whatever that is, because your happiness is is what matters. Everyone from the outside, ignore them. It's whatever makes you two happy, and as long as you're always in agreement on, as long as the lines of communication are constantly open, that's the key.
Yeah.
That's the key. That's the key. So you guys are definitely something that is needed in society to say, hey, we've done this our whole entire relationship and we're happy as hell. So, you know,
Yeah, and you
there
know,
is
it's
happiness
always
in a lifestyle relationship. Mhm.
Yeah.
So, whatever you need me for, just shoot me an email. I'm here.
Yeah.
Definitely here for it.
You are becoming fast one of my favorite people.
Yes.
So, Miss Nookie, this has been an incredible conversation. This is the kind of conversation that reminds us why we started Beyond Monogamy in the first place, because this lifestyle isn't just about play. It's about connection. It's about safety. It's about learning to communicate like grown ass adults who still know how to flirt.
Exactly. Yep.
Exactly. I love that Miss Nookie brings both the science and the sass. She makes communication sexy again. If you want to learn more about her work or grab your own set of Nookie Notes, go check her out at Love Mastery Institute and follow her socials. You'll find everything you need to link up with her and our show notes and our show websites under the guest bio. Trust us, you'll thank us later.
Yes. And as always, you can find us at www.beyond-monogamy.com. Leave us a voicemail on our confessional page, drop a review wherever you listen, and catch us on Full Swap Radio every Thursday at 2 p.m. and 7 p.m. Central Time. Big thanks to Miss Nookie for joining us. Wonderful lady.
Thank you guys so much for having me. This was amazing.
We
Loved
loved
it.
it so much. We can't wait to see you again because we're definitely going to have you back
Yes.
on. And to all of you listening, we appreciate you listening, and we will see you guys next week.
Bye.